This is Fantology.
You may have heard of us.
All right, what's up, Regions? This is Steven, your host with Phantology Podcast, and I have my lifelong friend Josh here. We're talking about House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 5. And after an action-packed Episode 4, we slowed down a bit and kind of felt like a bit of a reset for a second half conflict. But what did you think of the episode, Josh?
It was exactly what I kind of said I was hoping for last episode, with a slower episode, one that was a little bit more methodical in the way that I was going about things. I don't think it was my favorite episode of the season. In fact, it may have been towards the, bottom half in terms of just like pure enjoyment, but I think that it really did what it needed to do. It kind of, it's like the middle book syndrome in a trilogy where the first half is usually, the first book is usually pretty
Yeah.
exciting and the third book's usually pretty exciting, but the second book, it has a lot of work to do in order to set up the third book, but hopefully it can still be enjoyable. And this was still enjoyable while still suffering from some of the same types of things.
Yeah, it was a lot of setup, which I mean you have to have for any story to work. And when I went back and took some notes of like what actually happened, there were like several things. So there was a lot going on here
Yeah.
in our hour of TV. But yeah, it didn't quite have the explosive power that
A lo-
certainly the last episode did.
a lot of people talking about things in rooms, in cool rooms,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
fine. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Lots of conversations in different settings.
yeah. So
I would
let's talk about
say
those conversations.
yeah, right. So I think there's three like main storylines we're following through. One is Damon's efforts in the Riverlands over in Harrenhal. One is Rhaenyra and the Greens, and one is Alicent and Aemond and the Blacks. They're kind of these three
You,
separate things. Damon
you
did.
switch those up, but yeah,
Oh, did I messed up
yeah,
the colors? Yeah. Whoops. My bad. Yeah, you know what I mean. But Damon has kind of, in this episode, the biggest thing I took away was Damon has kind of separated himself from Rhaenyra more and more to like now he could become his own entity. He needs his own color or something because he's all for himself.
yeah. Damon, I don't know, whatever. I still think my prediction that he's going to come in at the last second with an army and save Rhaenyra's efforts, if only because that gets him closer to the throne. That could also, still work best for him. I still think that's going to happen.
Hmm.
But
Well, what army is it going to be? I mean, he spent this whole episode trying to muster an army and really like failed spectacularly.
yeah, that's true. One conversation, Hayden. So I watched this episode with Hayden, who is on about half of our episodes, but he
Nice.
can be on tonight. But I watched it with him, and so I might kind of relay some things that he said, slash just kind of talk
Yeah,
about
no, we
conversations that
need
we had
that. We need
right
that for
after.
sure.
But this was more what I was saying to him, was that this episode felt like it was an episode where a lot of people that have thought about what they would do as ruler for a long time, like for their entire lives, and now they actually get to try and do those things and realize how hard it is. Like Damon has always assumed, I think, that he could just go ride in on his dragon and rally a bunch of houses to his
Mm,
banner, and he might have to make some hard calls, but he's the person that can make those hard calls. And then you
right.
see him try and do it, and it just fails spectacularly. And same thing to a lesser extent with what Rhaenyra is going through. Same thing to a lesser extent with what Aemon is doing, trying to do. Like they're all just realizing how hard ruling really is in a time of war.
Mm. You mean like we all had these dreams of like, oh, one day I want to do this and I would totally be successful,
Yeah,
except that like I don't know if I can take that risk or I can't for whatever reason. And
right.
then you like finally get to that point and you're like, dang, this is actually like maybe I assumed a little too much here. Like this is a lot harder than I thought.
Yeah. It's like whenever you argue with somebody in your head, you always win that argument, right? Like, I don't
Mhm.
know. It's just like you're
Yeah.
always gonna think that you're like, oh yeah, but if this situation comes up, then I would obviously do this and da 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 and just like run through it. And
Uh-huh.
and yeah, and I think that Damon always thought that he would be able to make the hard calls, he would be able to, but in the end he would be successful. And yeah, it just didn't go the way he thought. So
Yeah, he really has had a pretty rough season. Like he's failing spectacularly so far, which I guess makes you wonder like what's his next move?
Do you think so? I didn't watch this video. I just saw the thumbnail, which I should have watched it. But there's speculation that that whole scene with the Bannerman was just all in his head, or it was like just a vision. But
Yeah, but the the lords of the Riverlands come and wake him up in the middle of the night and are
yeah,
mad at him for what the what are they? I don't remember which one he musters against the other one, but that
yeah.
they're like upset that all these like traditions are being broken and like outright crimes are being done in the name of the crown and right like I don't think it could be a vision.
I didn't think so either. Anyway, I'll go watch the video and report back on Discord with what I think about it if they made any good points.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe we're missing something, but I the scenes in Harrenhal do provide like a little bit of levity to the show. I think the Castellan, Sir Simon, right? Like he's kind of funny in a way that he's like not supposed to be funny, but he is funny and Damon is funny in the way that he makes fun of him and despises him behind his back. And anyway, that there's not I it doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot of nuance taking place here other than like the character of Damon, what his motivations are, what he could possibly do next. Like that's the most interesting thing for me and all of this. I guess there's also the Alice the witch thing going on and we'll see where that goes, but Damon's by far like the most interesting character in this plot line. I mean, it is his plot line, but there's not like a whole bunch of players. It just kind of seems like his adventure solo.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of weird. The vision he had. Should we talk about that? That was pretty weird and out of nowhere. I thought his mom.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was supposed to like reinforce this idea of like what motivates him and what is the really desire he wants to be. He's looking for this affirmation from some sort of like maternal or paternal, like some figure of authority. He wants to be told like you're doing a good job, and he's never really had that his whole life, and he's like looking for that. And I that's what I interpreted it as. And like Rhaenyra was almost that for a while, and then like Rhaenyra was ended up telling him like, no, Damon, like you have to do what I say, and he didn't like that. And anyway, so he's just like continuing to look for this. That's my interpretation.
Hmm. Yeah, still kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the sexualization of it was there as well, but
Yeah,
I think like that is the base meaning of what's happening.
fair enough. Yeah. Do you think that he thought that they would go as far as they did with the like war crimes?
I think I think it's on the same level as Blood and Cheese, where he basically said, "Do what you will, and I'm gonna wash my hands of it, but you have like you can do whatever you want." So, and I think Damon's old enough where he knows that if he gives this type of instruction to someone, like they're going to do whatever. Like he's not oblivious. I think he's trying to like trick himself into saying like, oh, I didn't really like I'm not really responsible because I didn't explicitly say that, but really he is.
Yeah, I think that he was totally responsible for it. I mean, I think even more than like blood and cheese. I think yeah, maybe he's trying to kind of wash his hands of it, but I think it's pretty yeah, I think he pretty explicitly called for violence. So
Yeah. So if we move off him, should we go over to Rhaenyra or Rhaenyra and the Blacks or Allison and the Greens?
let's do Alicent and the Greens because I think that there's more to talk about Rhaenyra and the Blacks.
Okay. We could start with Cole's maneuver of like bringing the dragon through the bringing Melis's right head
Yeah,
through the streets, and he's like expecting to be lauded as this hero, and instead the small folk are very
see it as a
unsettled
bad
by
omen.
this,
Yeah.
and yeah, yeah,
The small folk, they don't want to see the dead dragons. I don't think like that's not a positive for them, and especially not when they're dealing with rotting food. Like you're going to bring through like just a carrier of disease and stuff through a town that's already rotting. Like it's just yeah, it's just such a dumb idea.
I mean, the dragons are basically like gods
Yeah,
in this world. And so here's the decapitated head of the god that we're bringing through the streets. And it also represents like, okay, they just did this terrible thing to someone else who's has more of these things that can rain down fire and death on us. Like this is not a yeah, it's not a pleasing sight.
yeah, it's pretty. You really wonder because Cole was originally like kind of a man of the people, right? Like he didn't have huge, you know, he was kind of a lower family on the totem pole, right?
Uh,
And then he kind of ascended. So you'd think that he would know a little bit more, but maybe in the grand scheme of things, he still was never like, part of the small folk or whatever, the part of the
yeah,
people of
yeah, I
King's
think
Landing.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was probably never fighting over bread scraps.
Yeah. Um, anyway, stupid decision. I did think that one great scene was at the small council when they were just all sitting around the table and Eamon just sat there not saying anything the entire scene. And then, until like he stood up and went over and took a seat.
Hmm.
Maybe he did say something, but my impression, I would have to rewatch it again, but my impression is he was just sitting there kind of like with his smug like smirk on his face.
Yeah, same impression. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then when they kind of distorted the sound and zoomed in on Allison's face, dude, that was intense, man. That was intense.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. No, that scene was well done for sure. Amond has a lot of scenes where he says nothing, but saying nothing in key moments basically characterizes his character. Like he is someone with this the confidence in the face of whatever, but he also seems to always think that he has control over whatever situation it is. Like rarely do you really see him losing his cool.
yeah. But he's not infallible either. Like he
Oh
he makes
no.
he makes big bad mistakes. Kind of
But
what?
he I don't think he's one who like realizes he's not infallible. He has the immortality, fake immortality of a young, hot-headed warrior.
Yeah, it was so good though. Yeah, Allison just looking around at all the people that like she betrayed her, kind of so good. Um,
He immediately closes the gates on the small folk at
the small
King's
folk.
Landing at a bad time, and you could tell Allison as soon as she heard that she's like, "Oh gosh!" Like I knew that he was going to do something stupid, and already right away.
But yeah, that was a great scene. Um, really rough scenes with Aegon and peeling away the armor and
Hmm.
that was brutal to watch. At one point I thought it was gonna go really dark and Allison was gonna like smother him, put him out of his misery, but I'm glad that didn't happen.
In the actual account, there's like one piece of armor that they can't get off. It's like fused to his bone or something.
Uh,
They didn't do that, apparently. It seems like they got it all off.
maybe it wouldn't surprise me knowing that if he does ever get back up and walking, there's like kind of something fused to his leg or something because it looked pretty gnarly. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, regardless, he's permanently and horrifically scarred by this, and uh, we'll see what happens with him.
yeah. The prosthetic department is going to have some heavy lifting to do if he does have a lot more
uh,
screen time.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm interested if I dropped a note about this on our Discord, but getting too far into this is a bit of a spoiler, but I wonder if what's going on with his dragon Sunfire. Did Hayden say anything about this while you guys were watching? Because I'm pretty sure they said like they reported back that Sunfire was dead or dying. I can't remember
They
exactly
said I think
what
the
was said,
exact
but
phrase was Sunfire was long in the dying. So
Yeah,
it made it seem
something like
like,
that, right? Made
yeah,
it seem like Sunfire is dead,
yeah.
which would have some ramifications. And we're not doing spoilers, so we don't want to speculate too much, but I'm really interested to see if that's true or not.
Hmm,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, but that was another pretty intense scene. I don't know, like it was hard to watch. I kind of looked away during some of those surgeries. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I was expecting one of my things that I was hoping for at the end of episode 4 was I thought maybe Otto and Darren might have rolled into town from over from Old Town. Maybe the Raven's still going over there with the letter or whatever. But I would expect that they might be called back. Honestly, like this is where I don't really remember everything that happens in the actual text, but I would think that you might like this is a time where you might bring your closest allies back. If Allison Ted regained the Regency, she probably would have recalled her
I,
father. I
yeah, I'd
don't
imagine.
think I don't think Aemond is going to.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Um, yeah, I would like to see Otto back. I think that he would be able to change the tide of the war. Not that they're really losing right now, but I think that he would be able to help shore up their position.
I was wondering how you're rooting for the Greens.
No, I'm just saying strategically, I think Otto
You just
is a waste
you
of
just think
resource.
he's an interesting piece.
Yeah, and I think that he
Yeah,
would
yeah, yeah,
know a little bit better how to raise more banners and how to, just call in some favors and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, agreed. Agreed. What do you see happening? Like any thoughts on this whole like rumblings in King's Landing? And we've had glimpses from different small folk. The main one is from Hugh Hammer. And then at the end, Rhaenyra's maid is like going to meet someone. Like so we've had a few things, and now it seems that the small folk is a character in the show, and it's going to be important for the plot. Any speculation on what we might expect there?
And just beyond the basic, like if there's going to be stirrings of a revolution or starting to, you know, um, have a conflict between them and the King's Guard and just stuff like that. Not the King's Guard. Wait, the White Cloaks? No,
Gold
the
cloaks
Gold Cloaks.
or
Gold
the
Cloaks. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Like I could see something like that, especially harkening back to I think episode 1, right, of season 1, where Damon s- uh
Daemon becomes in
quenches,
charge of the gold
yeah,
cloaks, and
quenches a
yeah.
bunch of unrest
Hmm.
amongst Flea Bottom, or was it all of them?
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah,
You know,
it's kind of been a theme with the underlying theme of the show. So,
uh, I did a little. I saw an article and I clicked into it, and it said the woman that opens the door for Rhaenyra's maid is the same woman that Aegon. It's like previously a maid in the Red Keep, and Aegon sexually assaulted her at the end of season 1, I
oh,
think. And so this is like the same person. And she also appeared in the episode where they were like in the tavern, where that I don't remember this character's name, but there's the character who claims to be a Targaryen of Targaryen ancestry,
uh,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, so I think she was in that scene as well. But so I guess we can speculate on, what
she's popping
exactly.
around in important places.
Yeah, or like what is Masaria's strategy in making contact with her? What is Rhaenyra trying to do with her? I suspect it's generally they're trying to stir up some seeds of rebellion amongst the people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Okay. Hop over to the black side.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about amongst the blacks. I feel like that's where most of this episode was.
Okay. So smaller things. First, there's Jace who goes over to the twins, deals with the phrase, promises them Harrenhal for bended knees, and it seems like they have accepted the promise, and now we're gonna bring over the Northmen across, and uh, a little bit of similarity to Game of Thrones when once again we're trying to get the Northmen across the bridge there with the phrase.
Hmm. Yeah, that was interesting. I thought that was again like good. I talked last episode about how Aegon like needed to take some action in order to be an interesting character. And while this obviously wasn't as quote unquote interesting as Aegon's action was, this is what like a smart character does. Like even though he kind of took some things into his own hands and was discontented just sitting there not doing anything, it was actually, beneficial and well thought out and not just a super hasty thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
right. At the end of last episode, you were all team Aegon for him
I
fighting in the
wasn't team
battle.
Aegon. I was team good character moments.
Uh, no, you're right. I think that this was I mean, hopefully it's a good call by Jace, but it seems to be working out and they don't have any loyalty to Daemon right now, so promising the castle should be no big deal, especially since they said, at the end of the conflict we'll give it to him. So who knows what'll
Yeah, but they would
even
have to pry it from Daemon's hands, right?
Yeah, I mean that's way down the road. Might as well make some promises now and hope it works out.
Yeah, because that never backfires with the phrase.
Nah, never, never. See what
Um,
goes on there. Other minor characters got some like Bela and Reina moments.
well, and
Like,
Corliss had a few good moments
oh
this
yeah,
episode.
and Corliss showing some emotion, and then Corliss like pondering if he was gonna become Hand. Seems like at the end he's like closing his palm around it, like he's going to
Going to
accept,
accept.
especially after like Bela comes and talks him down.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. I think one of the best quotes of uh Driftmark is for the sand in the sea. I'm of fire and blood or something like that.
Yeah.
Was the it was a
It's
it was an
like
awesome
Driftmark is of
Driftmark, yeah.
salt and
Salton
sea or
Sea.
something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
That was a sweet quote. That was
Yeah.
yeah. Kind
Like
of like
those
leaning
sisters.
more into her
Yeah.
Targaryen side. Yeah.
Yeah, those two sisters need some cool moments. Like they're interesting characters and they haven't really had like a ton to do
Yeah.
other than Bela getting to chase down Kristen that one time. But other than that, they kind of just like sit around and are part of things. So it'd be nice to see them do something.
Yeah. Um but yeah, I enjoyed those scenes, and I do enjoy again. Maybe I have criticized too much Rhaenyra's court because technically, while not part of her court, I mean they are part of her court, but not part of her small council. So I should be more specific because in the past I've mentioned about how the small council kind of bugs me with Rhaenyra, but
Mm,
when you consider like Corlys and Bela and like all these people, like they are kind of part of her court, and you do get there are laid out characters on the black side as well.
mhm. Yeah, and we got that one guy that Hayden could have told us his name that is going to, accept his mission to ride off to Damon and treat with him. Apparently, there'll be something that happens with that. So these people are doing something other than
That
just
guy does not
bickering.
seem to have a good, future in front of him.
You don't think it'll go well for him talking with Damon?
Something tells me, something tells me no, but who knows?
Hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see, I suppose. Honestly, I don't remember. I mean, if these things are explicitly defined, I don't remember all the details
If
of
everybody
every
that
character.
Damon killed was, easy to remember.
Yeah, there were a few that he took down. Other than that, I think we can just kind of end on talking about Rhaenyra herself. Like she's chafing under this burden of being the queen, being in charge. People are dying for her, but she can't really do anything. And what can she do? Kind of like she's been dealing with this for a few episodes now. And then finally she's like got this idea along with Jace at the end of like, oh, we can, figure out how to get some more dragons to our side.
That was pretty cool. I should have put that together. I don't think it's super well defined for me at least, like how much of a Targaryen or a Valyrian you have to be in order to bond a dragon. So at one level, I feel like this is kind of just doing a little bit more telling than showing, just being like, oh yeah, if
Mm.
you are somewhere along the line a Targaryen, then there's a chance that you can bond with a dragon. But you
Well,
know,
I don't think the characters themselves know. The idea
it's
is
true.
that And this is kind of what Jace said. Like he said something to the effect of, those were the old Valerian myths that only our line could bond the dragon. But don't you think that they would have kind of exaggerated that for our own good, right? So they're assuming that any amount of blood can get it done, but we'll see. I don't think this has really been attempted before, at least like certainly not to the level at which it seems they're organizing.
That's true. Yeah. I wonder, I wonder if we're gonna get some montages of people getting eaten by dragons. Kind of seems like it. Kind of
Yeah,
seems like
we
that.
need to know what 2000s punk song goes along to the montage of people trying to bond dragons and getting burned alive.
Oh man, okay. We'll think about that while we keep talking. But the other thing that kind of reminds me of is when book three of Harry Potter, when they're all kneeling before the hippogriff, and Draco just gets like slashed by Buckbeak, and
Mm-hmm.
I can see some adult slashing going on with
Some hasty characters. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm. So, little bit of background. Right now there's 6 dragons that are eligible on over on, I believe these are all kind of like in the area of Dragonstone. So 3 of them have been previously ridden, and 3 of them are just wild dragons that have never been tamed. I think that's true. Maybe a little bit off, let me know in the comments if I got something wrong here. But we've got Vermithor, who's the huge one that we saw back in season 1. I think Damon approached him. And then Sea Smoke and Silverwing. I think Sea Smoke was the one that Laenor had previously bonded, and we saw flying overhead a few episodes ago. Silverwing, ridden by a Targaryen back years ago, don't remember who. And then there's 3 more wild ones called Sheepstealer, Grey Ghost, and the Cannibal. So, given those names, who do you think we have the best chance of making a bond with?
the cannibal for sure.
The Cannibal. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I assume named because it was known to eat other dragons. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
I
that's
don't.
true.
Sounds like it. I don't know. What are you thinking?
Well, I kind of know.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
uh,
this is just a random guess for you, but
I still think I'm gonna stick with my guess of the cannibal.
okay. The Cannibal,
Sticking
the
with it.
most.
Get a good chance to go eat other dragons. Like, okay, bond me. Go stick me on some other dragons.
Go eat
That's my
Vagar.
dinner. Yep. Go eat Vagar. You
Yeah.
can feast on that one for a long time.
Yeah.
Yep.
These are like these are big dragons. So any one of these dragons coming to the side of the blacks would be a huge get.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Well, okay, let me give you one other question that may be a little bit more pertinent. Who do you think of the characters we've seen, who do you think who are some possibilities for bonding these dragons?
Well, so is it Bale? Who's the one, the sister without a dragon
I'm
that
like
they kind of discounted?
95% sure it's Reyna. She's at the
Reyna.
Eyrie right now.
Okay, so obviously, yeah, obviously her, but she has a baby dragon at the Eyrie. She has two baby dragons there, right?
Yeah, but I believe those are the dragons of Rhaenyra's 2 boys that are there.
Okay. Okay. Um, but she has the possibility. Let's see. We got some bastards from Aegon that we saw in season one, right? That they're probably gonna go try and pick up.
Hmm.
Um, but named character, I don't know. In terms of named characters, um, I don't know. Who should I be thinking? I don't want you to spoil
Well,
it, so you can't really
yeah,
say.
I
But
can't really. Yeah, yeah.
um,
Okay, so your official guess is Reyna.
yeah, we'll go with Reyna.
Okay, okay. Good guess, strong guess.
Okay,
Maybe the easy guess.
maybe easy. I don't know. There's not that. I don't feel like there's that many options though of like named characters we already know, right?
Hmm. Think about it. Think about it a little bit more. Some characters we've seen pop in this season.
Oh, okay. We got Aaron, or we got the two bastards from Corliss, right?
Hmm.
Him and
Alan
Alan and
and
Aaron or something.
oh, what is his name? Eric.
Or,
No, wait,
no,
no. Eric was the
that's
one of
the
the
twin that
twins.
died. Yeah.
Uh, also starts with an A. Dang. Okay.
Anyway,
Adam.
okay.
Adam.
So we got two because they're
Adam and
Valerian.
Alan.
Yeah, so
Cole. Yeah.
they would be an option, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. Those are my two other guesses.
Okay. Okay. We will see. We will see. We'll see how effective the candidates are, and we'll have to keep on thinking about what punk song we're putting on the soundtrack of the people dying horribly from the
I feel like
dragons.
I'm what's the name of the song? I'm not okay, or I'm okay. Parentheses. I'm not okay by My Chemical Romance. That'd be a good one.
My Chemical Romance would be good.
Yeah,
Maybe like a Green Day song or something.
agreed. Okay, all right. I'll think of a good Green Day song.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Targaryen Idiot by Green
Yeah.
Day.
Targaryen idiot.
That's what we need.
That's a Weird Al song in the making.
Yeah, it is. All right. Okay, Josh, if you want to check us out, you can do that at our Discord. The invites are in the episode description below. Let us know what we missed. Hop on and just chat. We've got a bunch of things going on there, and we'll see you later.
All right. See ya.